Hey, this is Aaron with Bowtie Tuesday Treasures, and I wanted to just come on and do a live demo. I'm testing out some equipment. I got a new laptop too, making sure everything's working well with that. But I've had this project sitting around for about 2-3 days waiting for an opportunity to go live and show off some things. And as you guys pop in, say hey, and maybe you'll catch it in a day or two, but I wanted to really get this all done. I'm leaving town in a couple weeks, so lose an opportunity to go live before the holidays. So what I've got here is an antique mirror, and I want to show you some of the steps that I've been working on with this thing. So let me switch views here. Basically, I've got this, I had this antique mirror I bought from kind of an estate sale. It's been collecting dust for a while, and I thought I need to do something with this mirror. So the steps I went through on this project was obviously getting it out. That's half the battle, you know. But you can see it's definitely was dirty, old, lots of dust for sure. So I pretty much started out by removing any of the brackets and the back panel from the back. A little elbow grease with a hammer and things like that. Then there's the back. It's kind of got a weird spray painting thing going on. I don't know if they tried to fix it many years ago, but you can see the back of the mirror there. Then I used a screwdriver to pull out the front panels. I'll show you those in just a minute. You can see there's two of those little kind of flourishes, and then a little cap at the top. So all that was pulled out. And then this is the front of the mirror. You can see there's some felt strips and some vertical divisions there. Of course, some of the wood needed to be glued, so that's the picture there, using some dry bond glue, wood glue there to kind of get everything back. So it was in good structure. And then I attacked it with Boss. I knew I was going to go with a light color, so I used the white Boss. So I just pretty much painted everything that I knew was going to be exposed. I didn't paint the part where the mirror was covering up. I didn't think that was really needed. So really gave it a good coat. It's going to help me with bleed through, and it just really gives it a nice kind of primer type coat. I did wipe off the mirror. It was just a wet rag. I didn't want to use any cleaner. You'll see it's got a lot of age worn spots on it, and I definitely wanted to keep all of that. In fact, my technique tonight is going to be using a little bit of that technique, or that to its advantage. After that, I painted it with manatee gray, and that's the pictures I'm showing now. Everything coated with 2 coats of manatee gray, and there's we'll get another picture of the mirrors. So that's where I'm at. I'm 2 coats of manatee gray, and so that's where I'm picking things up now. And so hopefully you'll be able to join me now as I work on this with you. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work on putting I'm using Dixie Belle's Grunge Glaze. And then I'm also going to put Dixie Dirt, which is the ash. So those are the main 2 things I'm going to be putting on this manatee gray. So pretty simple. And I think that's going to help us as we demonstrate. So I already did a quick test just to make sure it was carrying over what I wanted. And this is kind of the look that I'm going for. It has a little bit of, it is Dixie Dirt. So it's going to feel a little sandy, but I wanted to just add some depth, but I wanted to add it almost in a dirty kind of way, just because the mirror is going to be aged too. So I'll be using tonight, I'm using a Paint Pixie French tip. I like this brush a lot. Dixie Belle does have a brush. I did find that the Dixie Belle brush isn't quite as pointed, but it is still a nice brush. So you could use that as an alternate, or any other brush. You know, something like a flat small would probably work. I just like the Frenchie because it has a nice point to it. If you're watching later on, maybe in the morning or tomorrow or anything like that, let me know you're watching, maybe where you're from. So right now, I'm basically just taking a little bit of the Grunge Glaze. I think you could probably do this with other products, but I do like how the Grunge Glaze gives it a little bit of depth, not just from, it takes it beyond just paint. But you need that liquid, that wet medium, whatever it is that you might want to use, to help give the dirt something to stick to. So you can see now, I just dipped, I guess you can't see that, but I just dipped the tip in the dirt, and I'm just going to go ahead and cover all the wet surfaces with it. I could just do in the crevices, but I don't mind if there's some dirt on the sides. I'm hoping this does the job. I've got other dirt colors that I can use, but I'm thinking this is so far so good. And there goes my French tip. And you can dab, wipe, whatever you want to do, but I'm just kind of gently wiping off. I don't necessarily want all the Dixie dirt gone. I just want it to be not as much. And I want the dirt to set in the crevices so that it accents the details. If you're going to do a Dixie dirt, this is something you almost go into it assuming you're going to keep it rather grungy would be the word I'm going for. So there's the two decorative pieces that are holding the mirror up. These go, I forget exactly, I think I've got them in the wrong side, but they go up here. This is the cap at the very top. That goes up here. All these pieces help hold the mirror in place. Just started looking at the calendar and what the projects I have, and I thought, man, this is a good opportunity to finish this project, test my equipment, demonstrate. Took all the pictures. I wanted you guys to see the steps. So this is the piece after applying glaze, and now I'm dipping right into the dirt. And I'm just going to go ahead and put this in strategic places. So just in the little decorative and probably toward the outer edges. Maybe think about where the dirt match will naturally be accumulating, like in corners. You know, maybe like over time they forgot to wipe that area. So that's kind of the look you're going for. So this is the finish here. And now I'm just going to slightly rub, dab. And you're just going to taste at this point, like not my mouth, but you know, how much do you want to wipe off? How much does the piece need? I really don't want it to be super clean because I want those blemishes on the mirror to feel at home, or the paint to feel at home with the blemishes. So just some strategic wiping. You don't want it to look too fake. You want it to look a little bit of a natural, worn. I'm not doing any distressing with this, although I could, and I might. And if I do that, I'll probably do that with sandpaper. So there's the kind of the finish. Feel free to use your fingers. Now I'm wearing gloves just because I know I was going to be handling a lot of wet medium. And I don't want my hands to get too soon. So that's going to be up there. And you can hopefully tell, and bring it down, the difference between the raw paint. It's very clean, and this is a little bit dirty. I think that's coming through the camera there. So I'll just set that to the side. So at this point, what we're really hoping to accomplish now is to figure out where else on the mirror do we want to put this. So let's work on the bottom section here. I think that's the next biggest area that needs this detailing. So again, I've got my Grunge Glaze. A smaller brush, in this case, it's a French So I'm just going to go across the bottom for now. Maybe we'll go halfway. How about that? I don't want to get too spread thin and then my stuff starts to dry. I'm also using a wet rag. You could use, I have my Mister bottle handy. If you feel like you're not wiping enough off, you could always mist it down. These products are water-based. Some might say that it works well for them to also top coat first. And I don't really want that much wiped off, so I'd like going straight on the paint. The reason why I went this technique is as I mentioned, I really want to complement the age of the mirror, but I also knew that it had some really nice crevices to work in. So here you'll see as I go across, I'm just applying that dirt somewhat liberally. I probably put too much on in the middle, but that's kind of cool. When I put the paint on, I also wasn't too concerned about, get a little bit of a, keep it wet, just a little bit. I wasn't too concerned with clean, refined brush strokes. You could go a little bit rugged with your brush strokes. What I mean by that is different directions, thicknesses, and that gets picked up by this Dixie dirt really well. So there are a lot of ways to accomplish this: glazing, waxing. This is just another way out. Grungy that is. I don't think my wet rag is quite as wet as I normally would like it, but that's where the mister is helping me out. But notice how, can you see that? Let me pull you in a little bit. Don't have a lot of room where I'm at, but it should be enough to see. The wetter you have it, the more you'll be able to pull off. It's really a different effect than using a wax. The name is so great. I love the name of the Dixie dirt because I really feel like I've just really added a lot of dirt to it and age to it. So look at the difference. Isn't that really cool? We'll come back over there probably. Let's keep moving on the left side. Excuse my reach, as you might say at the Thanksgiving table. Excuse my reach. So we'll keep going. I'm going to overlap what I've already done. I don't know exactly how many, but I've got at least, I want to say 4 Dixie dirt products. I think there's ash. I'm looking at them now. Charcoal, earth, Dixie dirt, and the one I'm using tonight, which is the ash. I've not used them all. This is the first time I've used ash, but it looked like it was going to work really well for a gray paint. The Dixie Dirt's my favorite. I've used that the most, probably because I do a lot of earth tones. But this is working really well. And the Grunge Glaze is a little bit of a earthy brown. I think that's perfect too. They do sell a black glaze, although I've not been 100% sold on that, how black it really is. So I've used it a couple times, but this one works really well. So if I stopped at just doing the Grunge Glaze, it would be enough. But the dirt just really kind of finishes it off just perfectly. All right. Let's feel it, you know, the dirt's gonna dry up the paint, so you gotta keep it wet. So cool. That's how you should be when you're painting. You should be excited about what you're doing. You can't really see it, but these corners really are kind of accumulating a good bit of dirt, and that's just what I want. Now, if someone's doing a kind of a fresh farmhouse style, I don't think this is quite the look, but I think this has a nice, good bit of mood to it, and it's working quite well. So this is one of those where you almost want to go back and see what the before was. Let me see if that fits in there. I just wanted you to see, I wanted to kind of get a feel. I think, yeah, this is right. So this is how the mirror is going to set in there. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is focus my Dixie dirt almost like it's shadowing behind. And I think this piece goes here. So everything's looking really great. There's this middle panel too that I'll want to grunge up, but there's no reason, I don't think I want to do a lot out here, but I'm going to see if I can kind of halo that, the mirror. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the paint that I've already painted as my guide. So I'm going to focus on the inside. Let's see if that works. If it doesn't, we'll do it all. I'm going to do it all for the most part, but I think that's going to work out really well. So let's start with this middle post. We'll go ahead and put grunge glaze all over this. And I think what I'm going to do is try and go for an idea that the top and bottom are dirtier than the middle. So let's see if we can make that work. So just a touch of dirt. We'll focus more here. I could also go dirtier to cleaner, but let's see if we can create that look. So I'm only putting the dirt at the top and the bottom. And we'll just let the middle part stay free. All I did on the middle was the glaze, and I might even wipe some of it off. Just gonna slightly wipe off. Watch out for other areas you touched you've already worked on. And we'll see, I think that's gonna look pretty cool. Now back to our other. So we're going to do just right here. Tell you what, let's go ahead and put the glaze on everything. We don't want to have the chalk paint be a natural color to be seen. I think the whole thing should feel a little bit muted, aged, antiqued. And we'll go ahead and do the side. And I'll apply, sorry you can't see that, a little kind of hard to show every side. I think you get the idea of what I'm doing. I'm going to push the dirt in crevices and corners. All right, so here, I really just want to put it around where I think the mirror is going to be seen. Not all the way to the edge. Now, as a side note, what I'm learning right now is that it might have been good to do the top before the bottom, because all this dirt is getting on the lower section, but that's okay. So here, I'm just going to put a little bit on the sides, just to highlight some crevices, as if it was not clean great throughout the years. Okay, with that being done, I'll just blow off some excess, wipe off where I didn't want it down below. Looking good. And let's go ahead and wipe off a little bit of the edges, just to keep some contrast between spots that have it and others that don't. Okay. Same on the side, just highlight some areas, leave dirt in some. Now, if we bring that mirror back, let's see if that worked out. Put that in there. And with my lighting, it's a little hard to tell, but there is a nice little edge. Things are working out. So ultimately, I'm just going to come back, encourage a little bit of dirt in the sides. Because I have remnants of the glaze and dirt on my brush, I can still come back and highlight some areas. I know someone who would look at this and say, that thing's filthy. Others are going to love it. You can't always paint something for everybody. You got to paint it, one, for fun, and two, for that one person you know that's going to love it like you do. Okay, that's coming out pretty cool. When I first bought it, I kind of got the impression, or I couldn't tell at the beginning that it had already actually been painted. It has brown paint all in here, so somebody already tried some kind of painting technique. Who knows how long ago, but so I really didn't feel bad. Excuse me, I think I move the camera up. Really didn't feel too bad about painting it. It's not in super great shape. Of course, you can see the mirrors are evidence of that. I had really thought about getting new mirrors done, but if you're trying to make a profit, I don't think there's going to be a lot of profit. It probably costs about $100 at least to get the mirrors redone. And I'm guessing someone's not going to want to pay a ton of money for this. There's not a huge, I don't know if there's a huge market for this type of mirror. I know people like to put them in their bathrooms over vanities and stuff, but the nice thing is someone who wanted it to, they could go get mirrors made. It's not that hard to replace mirrors on these. Let's keep going around the top. We're making good time. This project hasn't taken a long time. Besides cleaning and taking it apart and a few coats, maybe I have not even an hour in this project, excluding tonight. So this is a nice little weekend project. Weekend meaning between cleaning, painting, and then eventually top coat. If you do a step a day, you could have this done in a weekend. And a killer looking, awesome looking piece. I think this would look good above a dresser, just like it was meant to be. In a bathroom. Could be an entryway table above that. That would be kind of cool too. Now it had this little swivel piece. I'm not sure, I can't recall why, but that's the only side that had it. And maybe the mirror was needing attention. Okay, so I've done all the side. This glaze goes on really easily. It's transparent, it's not really thick. Right now I'm only putting dirt around the edges where I think the mirror's at, just to kind of create a little bit of a halo. Like they couldn't really get the clean behind the mirror, so it just got a little dirtier there. Build up, how about that? It's a good word, build up. Let me switch over here. I'm just putting a little bit of dirt around some bends, areas I think that it probably got missed. So just wrapping up, putting some grunge and dirt on this mirror. Oh, I missed the middle post. Let's try that again. Let's get that done. I've already done this one. I put dirt top and bottom, not so much in the middle. I'm going for a little bit of dirt gradient there. How about that? Dirt gradient. I doubt I've seen anybody do a dirt gradient. You saw it here first. Rarely do I see, at least nowadays, rarely do I see anybody using Dixie dirt. I think the last person I saw using it was Tracy's Fancy. Now, I don't watch everybody's live, or I don't get to catch everybody's live, but she was the last one I saw use it. I like to pull it out on projects that I feel like the piece has been, you know, almost neglected, but needed that look. Like I've done some pie cabinets, pie safes, it just looked like they needed that age. Okay, I'm just checking to make sure I didn't miss anything. I think everywhere the mirror is going to be. So at this point, you just kind of take inventory, make sure, you know, you can always come back and apply more Grunge glaze or Grunge Dixie dirt, but the dirt really only sticks best where it's wet. So most of this is kind of already drying. Just really like that look. Probably about the only other thing I would do to this if I felt like it needed would be to add some distressing. And I'll think about that. I still have time to do that. I have up till top coat time to do that. So let's take a look then. For those that may be jumping in late, this is, see if I can get that in there again. The goal here is to match the age or wear, slide it. Match the age of the mirror. Got all this distressing. And you might even look just inside if you can see through and say, oh, I need to age that. Because there's a little bit of paint right there. But I think we're doing okay. So I'm excited to get this all back together. Something like that. And I think it really just all worked out. And by the time I get this all wrapped up, it'll feel like I pulled it off a really old piece and totally feel like that's the way to go. So I'll get this back together after I top coat it, take some pictures, maybe before tomorrow's out. We'll see. If not, I'll have to wait till next year because I'm pretty much out of here. So again, I know it's late tonight, but as a review, this project has gone from, there's the original start of the mirror, just regular stained wood. You can see the discoloring, and took off the brackets in the back. Needed to get the mirror out, and the back needs to be reattached. Get to the screws, take those little decorative elements off. And there's the front with the mirrors off. Glue where you need to, do all your repairs, clean it, apply Boss, and then just wiping out the mirrors, getting all the dirt off, kind of seeing where you're left with. I didn't use any Windex or anything on that. Then 2 coats of chalk paint. I used Manatee Gray. And then as you saw tonight, demonstrating using the Dixie dirt and Grunge glaze. Those are the 2 stars of the show tonight. So if you've never tried that technique, give it a shot. It's a totally different experience, and I think it works really well. So.
That's the end of the show. Make sure you subscribe and ring the bell before you go. Bye.